In our strategy, risk is tracked through a 5-phase cycle. The objective is not prediction. The objective is sequencing and optionality, because optionality determines who survives stress and who is forced to react. This signal rarely matters immediately, but when it does, it decides who becomes the forced seller. And by the end of this episode, our strategy will map that to Phase 2 vulnerability. This episode reviews content from Tom, Lazy Investor. The video is titled 3 Net Worth Levels, Where Banks Start Treating You Differently. The original video focuses on wealth thresholds and behavior changes. In our strategy, we track risk through a 5-phase cycle. Different phases punish different forms of fragility. The core claim is that wealth does not scale linearly. There are thresholds where behavior, incentives, and consequences change. The video highlights 3 of them. This is not a market timing signal, but it is a framework for understanding optionality. And optionality determines decision quality under stress. Around 100,000 in investable assets, compounding becomes visible, not powerful yet, but visible enough to change behavior. Below this level, progress feels invisible, so people quit, overreact, or chase noise. This is where most long-term discipline breaks. Here is what most people miss. The threshold is not the math, it is the behavioral shift that follows. Around 500,000, the video describes walk-away power. In our strategy language, this is labor optionality, the ability to refuse bad terms without catastrophe. As optionality rises, forced behavior falls. Less leverage stress, less panic selling, more patience when volatility appears. Around 2.5 million, capital becomes more productive than time. This is the inversion point. The decision framework changes entirely. Hold this thought, because this is where it connects directly to market phases. In our strategy, Phase 2 is forced liquidity. The best prices come from sellers without choice. Optionality determines which side of that event you occupy. This framework does not change the phase call. It changes preparedness. It highlights who is vulnerable if Phase 2 arrives. Before this episode, Phase 2 risk sat in a moderate range. This content does not raise that probability, but it increases sensitivity to preparedness if that probability converts. In our strategy terms, this remains early, not a buy window, but no longer distant because optionality takes time to build. Quick disclaimer, this is educational macro commentary, not financial advice. These are not buys. These are the tickers most sensitive if Phase 2 develops. SPY for broad market stress, TLT and ZROZ for duration convexity, gold and silver for policy response sensitivity, BTC for liquidity beta behavior, SMH, AIQ, and chat for high beta exposure. This is where it becomes actionable. Optionality is built before volatility, not during it. No all-in decisions, no single entry bets. Cash remains decision power, not failure. Track investable assets separately from lifestyle assets. Reduce leverage that forces liquidation. Pre-write ladder rules before stress appears. If credit stress eases, Phase 2 probability extends. If labor stabilizes, forced selling risk declines. If funding remains orderly, timing pushes out. Which threshold feels more critical, the first or the second? And which breaks first under stress, credit behavior, or labor leverage? Our strategy does not need to be early. Our strategy just cannot afford to be late.